Hello everyone, welcome back to World of Warcraft Classic Era, featuring an Orc Shaman. If you're new here, feel free to enjoy the relaxing commentary of today's episode in the background. And as always, I hope you are all doing well. And I thank you for joining me today. It means a lot. In the previous episode, we took on the Forsaken's homeland of Tirisfal Glades, reaching level 10 in the process. Today, we have returned to Durotar, and we'll be looking to wrap up everything that remains. We've got a lot to take care of in the next hour, so let's get started with the Echo Isles first. In between episodes, we picked up our level 10 abilities. This includes Flame Tongue Weapon. I believe it was a second rank of Earth Shock. That might have been level 8 though. We picked up Flame Shock, which is excellent, and we picked up the Strength of the Earth Totem as well. Now, there's a couple of things to note about some of these abilities. Flame Tongue Weapon isn't going to be very useful for quite a long time, if ever, honestly. Only because a Rockbiter weapon provides so much more damage. Just in general, in comparison to Flame Tongue, there's basically no situation in which you would use Flame Tongue over a Rockbiter weapon, even as an Elemental or Resto Shaman. That is until hopefully later ranks there is some sort of spell power component to this. Then it would definitely become intriguing and a much better option. For now, we're going to be sticking with Rockbiter. Strength of Earth Totem I don't plan on using outside of dungeons. In dungeons it does seem far more appealing for groups that have heavy melee damage users inside. We have like a warrior and a rogue, or another enhancement shaman. It might be nice to put down to deal some extra damage for the whole group. But out in the open world, I don't think it's going to be necessary. We'll be using Searing Totem far more often, and maybe even stuff like Healing Stream later on. So that's that. We also downranked Earth Shock in the process back to rank 1. We actually really didn't even need to pick up the second rank. And that is because with the presence of Flame Shock now, we're not going to be using Earth Shock for damage anymore. It's no longer going to be necessary. So we're basically only going to be using it to interrupt spellcasts. And the later ranks of Earth Shock do not increase the amount of time that it locks the target out of their spell school for. So it prevents any spell in that school from being cast for another 2 seconds. That does not increase with new ranks, therefore making it pointless to spend the extra mana. So we'll be sticking with Flame Shock pretty much all of the time. And that combined with our eventual Searing Totem is going to make for nice, consistent damage output. And yeah, that should cover everything for level 10. We did pick up Journeyman Skinning. So otherwise we were going to start capping that out very quickly. Yeah, we'll see how many ruined leather scraps we continue to pick up from the early enemies that we skin. I would like to start working on leatherworking before we hit level 15 or so. so far it would appear that we've picked a good time to play for today. We've already got 2 out of our 3 tail lasher eggs. And we haven't had any competition for tigers either, so that's been great. I really like having the dot from Flame Shock. It really helps smooth out those kills where you just barely didn't have enough damage to take out an enemy with a single strike, or one more strike. Flame Shock helps out with that a lot. I think we're actually done with the tiger fur, which is actually pretty crazy. Drop rate is not super great on those, so I'm surprised we're already done with that. Just need one more egg, and it looks like we can get those here. I think the questing path that we've taken overall has been really solid. Everything that we've had to deal with so far has been very smooth and easy. We're going to head over to the big island now to deal with the trolls. With all the tools that we have available to us, that should also be very easy and very quick. Then we'll have to deal with thwarting the Kolkar aggression before we leave Sen'jin Village for good. We're in a little bit of trouble here, it looks like. I think we'll manage to survive, though, if we can get some heals off. Alright, we've got Zalazane's head, and now let's pick up the skull on the hill. And we'll wrap up our hexed and voodoo trolls. With that kill, we have reached level 11, another point into Convection. It's hard to say where we're going to go after Convection, which will be at level 15. Increasing the damage done by our fire totems seems pretty awesome. So does a lot of this other stuff. Concussion, of course, is another really awesome one. We'll have to see. Not too much more to go. I think only 3 trolls remain. Alright, that is it for the Echo Isles. Let's swim back over to Senjin Village we'll run right past. We'll deal with the attack plans from the coal car. Then we'll turn everything in. And then our gaze is going to shift northward. I want to complete the Harpy questline so we can obtain another weapon upgrade. I've kind of rethought my process on that. I think it would be nice to have that upgrade now, even if it won't be too long before we get another one afterwards. There is a particular staff called the Cauldron Stir that we can pick up fairly early in the Barrens. It's the one that involves taking the fungal spores to Thunderbluff. But before we actually can complete that, we still have quite a few quest lines that we can do. So having an upgraded weapon for those is still going to be pretty meaningful for us. So once we deal with the Harpies over in the ravine, we are going to need to complete hidden enemies for Thrall before we move into the Barrens. And once all of that is taken care of, we'll be looking to obtain the right to use our fire totems by working on the Call to Fire questline, which we also picked up in between episodes, I believe. We have to find a named NPC in the Barrens to get that going. He's on top of one of the big mounds in the middle of the plains. Alright, we are back on the Darkspear Strand. Let's head over and deal with the coal car. Entering the crag now, let's go ahead and take all these guys out and destroy those battle plans. More and more minor healing potions. We do not need more of those. And they've been very difficult to even attempt to utilize them so far. Kind of been making up excuses to use them here and there just to get them out of our inventory. Gonna have to do the same with that last one we just picked up. Because potions are only in stacks of 5 in Classic. So, oh, how far we've come since then. I believe you can stack like 100 of them now in retail. Maybe even more than that, honestly. It could just be like infinite. Yeah, we're not going to need these anymore, so we'll go ahead and use them up when we can. Just one more set of plans to destroy. Let's get to it. Looks like we just picked up our first belt. That's pretty cool. There we go. Looks like nobody's home on this side. Somebody must have come through here recently. Right, let's take our trip back to Senjin Village. We'll turn in our quests. And we head back towards Razor Hill. And we're back in town. Let's make sure we find a vendor as well to get rid of some of this stuff in our inventory.
Hey there, be seeing ya. Okie dokie. See ya later.
First we pick up the faintly glowing skull. I'm just going to use this to deal damage to something, honestly. It's basically a minor healing potion plus some damage. I'd rather just use it as a as an extra earth shock, I guess, if you will, for no mana. I rarely ever find a true use for it against anything. I guess it could be nice to use against Fizzle Darkstorm if you are going through with that questline. I think it would be nice to have for that. Otherwise, I can't think of anything else in this zone in which you would really want to utilize that for any reason.
Talk to me. Spirits be with ya, ma. Hello, man. Later.
That is, of course, it for Senjin. Let's head up to Razor Hill. I'm not going to go completely out of our way to take on some more beasts for skinning. I don't think it's necessary at this point. I think our skinning level is at a point where we can take it into the Barrens just fine. We're not going to get too much experience for these guys anyway. And we are nearly back in Razor Hill. Let's see, is there anything to do here? Looks like we have one quest we can turn in. And we're nowhere near level 12, so we don't need to worry about picking up any new abilities while we're in town. I am going to pick up Conscript of the Horde, which is our breadcrumb into the Barrens. For now, just in case, because I'm not sure where we're going to be when it's time to move on to the Barrens. We may not be anywhere near Razor Hill. And we may want to cut across the landscape up here over to this bridge, depending on where we are.
Speak, friend. Be safe. For the Horde. What do you need? Dabu.
Alright, that's it. I think we are done here. Let's head north. And we'll start working on the stolen supply sacks that we can collect. There's no competition for them. This should also be a pretty quick task. And then the follow-up quest is going to send us deeper into the ravine to kill some harpies. I believe we should be very close now. Let's head off the beaten path a little bit here. And we'll start to keep an eye out for those sacks of supplies. I see one over there already. Just need one more already. Let's hope we get lucky and find one last one over in this spot, but I think we're gonna have to head back to the main road and check out one of the other spots. Just gonna double check real quick and see if there are any down this way. And there is. Let's pick up this last one. We can actually head straight through this part of the ravine. We'll just pop our Earthbind totem and or Stoneclaw totem to keep these guys occupied. And this should be a quicker route back to our goblin friend. We're going to skip out on Lost But Not Forgotten, the Crocodile quest. I don't think we'll have time for that. I'd like to head into the Barrens a little bit earlier. We have arrived back at Reslak's camp.
Be good. Keep it real.
Let's turn that in, and now we have to kill 12 Dustwind Savages and Storm Witches. And this is going to reward us with the Blemished Wooden Staff. This is going to increase our DPS by an additional 2.2, so an additional 50% basically. So I believe this is totally worth it. We're going to head south, and then we're going to make a left into the ravine. If there are any other players nearby, which, according to our /who, there's quite a lot in the zone still already, we'll try to invite them to a group and see if we can take it out together. Welcome to the Dry Gulch Ravine. Let's slaughter these harpies. And these savages are no joke. We are actually taking quite a lot of damage. That fainting glowing skull might have actually been pretty useful here. I think we might have to start actually using some more lightning bolts. Even if that means we have to drink a little bit more. We did pick up some ice cold milk in between episodes as well. I did forget to mention that. So that should help. We'll be back online pretty quickly with that stuff. Got another battered chest with pretty much nothing in it. We should see if this silver leaf is worth anything, though. We need everything that we can get right now. We're still only at about 30 silver, and we're about to hit level 12, so we're gonna start picking up some more abilities soon. And I do want to upgrade our bags at some point. There's a lot of stuff that we need money for. The really nice thing about these Dustwind Storm Witches is that their casts are actually quite long. Long enough that our Earth Shock can come off of cooldown in time to continuously use it over and over again to interrupt their spell casting. So the witches are actually really, really easy for us, since we pretty much have a direct counter to them every time. It's these Dustwind Savages that I don't want to pick up more than one of whenever possible. We just take way too much damage. We did pick up a couple of greens just now. Severing Axe of Strength. Can we use two-handed axes? I mean, this would be pretty insane if we could do that. I'm going to avoid it, only because we are trying to play Elemental here. I don't want to go out of our way to play Enhancement if we don't have to. We picked up the Beaded Orb of the Eagle, a nice little offhand that provides intellect and stamina. We are going to try to keep with staffs, though, as much as possible. If we happen to pick up a one-hander that also provides intellect of some kind, then maybe we will consider that. Especially as a potential switch into for dungeons. Since we'll be primarily healing. Let's see how many more we need. We need 4 more storm witches, and we should be close to the savages. Yeah, we need 2 more of those. We've already killed 10 of them. Did see quite a lot of more of those on the way in, whereas the witches have been hiding in the back. Let's see if we can take out our last storm witch quickly, and if we're able to accomplish that, then maybe we can get back before everything starts to respawn. And then we don't have to fight as much on the way out. Looks like the savages have respawned. That's okay. Shouldn't be too much to get out. And we need 2 more anyway. Let's go get that weapon upgrade. Very excited for it. And we passed another player on the way back out. Hopefully he cleared us a nice little path back to Resnack. Does anyone want to quest together? That is a question you would never see in the retail version of the game. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen... It's crazy to say, but I don't think I've ever seen a message like that in a long time. Really cool to see. And I bet there are a lot of willing participants. Especially since it seems like there's a ton of new players in Classic Era right now. Right, Reslack, let's Go ahead
Time is
and
money,
hand over that
friend.
blemished wooden
Keep
staff.
it real.
And in the process, we have hit level 12. That's great. I love how the walking stick looks so much more put together than this wooden staff, and yet it deals way less damage. You know, let's put on Flame Tongue for a little bit. Let's just try that out. Have a nice little fireball flinging around our staff for now. Let's go ahead and get that third point into convection. We're going to really start feeling the effects of this now. Having less mana cost is always going to be nice. And we are currently heading towards the cave in the very northeast of Duratar. We've got some Burning Blade members to kill. We need that medallion, or that insignia this time around. And we'll give that to Thrall. There's going to be some back and forth between Thrall and, I think his name is Niru Fireblade or something like that, outside of Ragefire Chasm. If we run out of time, I'll handle that in between episodes, and then we'll have one of our many quests for Ragefire Chasm ready to go. Once we hit level 13 or 14, we can actually enter. Especially as a healer, it won't be as big of a deal, since we won't be necessarily needing to hit stuff. So it won't be long now. Alright, we're here at Skull Rock. It looks like somebody else may be here as well. Hopefully there's enough to go around. Let's get that insignia. I'm actually going to open up details for a little bit and run a little comparison on Flame Tongue attack versus our Rockbiter and kind of see the difference. Rockbiter's not going to be tracked as its own damage source though, so it might be kind of tough to see the difference. But so far, it's dealt about as much damage as Flame Shock at the moment, so that's not terrible. Very close to dying here. I think we'll be okay if we spam a bit of healing waves. Everything's like respawning pretty much instantly. That's making things real tough for us right now. Looks like our buddy here has gotten what he needs. Let's loot Gazuz and see if he has anything for us. We were able to loot both enemies, which means This guy must have something? Got it, an additional quest, the Eye of Burning Shadow. Yep, take this to Near Fireblade, that's perfect. We're good with that. And now we just need that insignia, and so does our buddy here. And it looks like he's already gotten it. Yeah, it looks like he's heading straight out, so we'll drop group, make sure that we can actually pick up loot for this guy. Alright, let's continue to push forward for that insignia. Wonder what the drop chance is on it. I have to imagine it's something like 5 or 10%. Something pretty low. Alright, so Flame Tongue attack not doing too much for us. It's about 24 extra damage. Our melee was 86. Let's switch back to Rockbiter. And we'll see if it makes any sort of meaningful difference. I do not want to go down there. Let's go back around. And start picking some stuff off outside of the cave or right by the cave entrance. I really love the Stone Claw Totem. Having a target dummy this early on in your leveling experience is just too useful for getting away or for getting a quick heal off easier, or even just a cast for a damaging spell. Just feels super, super useful all the time. Fortunately for us here, let's see if we can get this totem on him. I think we might be dead. Yep. First death of the run. And now I'm starting to regret getting rid of that faintly glowing skull. Yeah, man, we're having a hard time in here, even at level 12. I was hoping that Stoneclaw would be able to get him at the last second, but our healing, there's no way we would be able to get that healing wave off in time. I don't think, this is kind of our big long casted heal. I don't think we pick up, I think it's called Lesser Healing Wave until level 20 or so. It's going to be a while before we get our flash heal. That's okay, this is going to happen more than once, I'm sure. Let's head back into Skull Rock. Let's see if we can pick up that insignia in the next couple minutes. And then in between episodes, I'll turn that into Thrall. And I'll handle the back and forth as well, so that in the next one we can just get straight into the Barrens. That would be ideal. I think we're just going to use our Stoneclaw Totem every time against these guys. Anybody that has a minion. Might as well. Just save ourselves a little bit of headache. Still no insignia in sight. We'll give it one last shot against this Burning Blade fanatic. And we do not get it. Unfortunate. Alright guys, I think that is going to do it for me for today. In between episodes, I'm going to pick up this Lieutenant's Insignia. I'm going to turn this into Thrall. I'm going to talk to Nehru Fireblade in the Cleft of Shadow. Just a lot of back and forth, nothing much to see there. And then the next episode, we're going to kick things off in the Barrens right away. We're probably going to head from Razor Hill to turn in the Conscript of the Horde. And then on our way to the Crossroads, we're going to deal with the Call of Fire and finally get our fire totems. Searing Totem is going to be a big part of our rotation overall, so I'm very excited to pick that up. As always, guys, I appreciate you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.